Before we begin, a quick announcement to let you guys know that we have channel memberships. If you're interested, please see the link in the description for more details. Now, on to our story. You're born in a border town south of Pingyao. Congratulations! You're the fourth daughter of the average Ming Dynasty family. Like most of the other men in your town, your father is a tenant farmer. This means he farms land he doesn't own and pays an arm and a leg every harvest season for renting it. Your mother weaves cloth, but she and your older sisters help with the harvest. And you chase chickens, collect eggs, and steal radishes from your neighbor's garden. Life is hard, but it's not unhappy. Numerous harvest seasons pass, and you turn 10. You're at the Liu family's house, playing with their older children. Hide and seek in the courtyard, laughter echoing off the walls. Then Auntie Liu screams. She's heavily pregnant. You always joke that the baby is going to be as big as you when it is born. But now isn't the time for jokes. You hear someone say her water is broken, that the baby's coming early, 2 weeks early. Her husband runs for the village midwife, but the midwife is 3 miles away at another birth. The older kids panic. You don't know why, but you stay. Auntie Liu is on the floor, gripping the bed frame, eyes wide with pain. You saw your mother deliver your youngest sister 2 years ago. You remember, she stood, supported under the arms. You're still a child, so you're not strong enough to hold her, but you can fetch boiled water. You can find clean cloth. You can talk to her and keep her calm. When the midwife finally arrives, the baby's head is already visible. The midwife looks at you and says, "You did well." She takes over, and soon, a baby's cry fills the compound. And you weren't wrong about the baby's size. From that day, the midwife takes you as her apprentice. Unpaid at first, then stipends as you start helping. You sleep on her floor. You carry her bag. You watch her work. You learn how to turn breech babies that are turned feet first, how to cut the cord, what normal blood looks like versus dangerous hemorrhage, when to press, and when to wait. The village respects the midwife, but you hear the whispers. 3 aunties and 6 grannies, a phrase that drips with contempt. It means undesirable females. Although the town needs the midwives, they still don't trust female healers. They believe midwives are promiscuous and spread rumors, but you don't mind and go back to learning. Years pass and you turn 14. A few months after your birthday, an imperial edict arrives. The Forbidden City is recruiting midwives. Criteria: unmarried, steady hands, no criminal family background, proven experience. The village midwife puts your name forward. She tells you that you're skilled and that this could save your family. Your father also advises you to go. He needs the silver stipend they're offering. You don't want to go, but you have no choice. Months later, you're loaded onto a cart with 5 other girls, and so you leave your village for the first time. You arrive at the Forbidden City gates. The walls are higher than anything you've ever seen. You're separated from the other recruits, led down corridors that smell like sandalwood and stone. A senior palace maid brings you to an examination chamber. No introductions, no explanations, just begin. The test has 3 parts. Part 1 requires you to demonstrate turning a breech baby. They hand you a wooden model, a carved torso with a wooden infant inside, positioned wrong. You've done this before. Your hands remember. You turn the baby. Click. It shifts into position. The examiner nods. Part 2 requires you to identify virginity markers on an examination doll. They hand you a porcelain figure, anatomically detailed. You point to the hymen, describe its appearance, and explain how to verify without causing damage. Your voice is steady. Your hands don't shake. Part 3 requires you to perform an autopsy examination on a female corpse. She's real. Recent death. Cause unknown. You examine her. No visible wounds, no bruising, but her lips are blue, her tongue swollen. You say, poisoning or suffocation. They write something down, then send you to temporary quarters. 2 days later, You pass. 2 other girls don't. They're sent to the laundry bureau. You, on the other hand, are told your duties. You're to attend imperial births, verify the virginity of concubine candidates, examine female corpses in criminal cases, select wet nurses, guard female prisoners when needed. There are also rules. You cannot leave palace grounds. You cannot marry. You cannot own personal belongings beyond what's assigned. You cannot refuse an assignment. And you serve for life. Which means you will never see your parents again. The only way they'll know how you're doing is from the stipends the Forbidden City might or might not send them. A senior midwife, 50s, gaunt, been here 30 years, pulls you aside. She says your techniques are familiar. She asks who your teacher was. You say her name. Turns out she's your teacher's sister disciple. She gives you advice before she leaves. Keep your head down. Never gossip. If a baby dies, pray it's not during your shift. After the encounter, you're assigned quarters. You're taken to a shared room. You share with 8 other palace women. Thin mat. No windows. You lie down that first night and realize you're not a midwife anymore. Now, you're property. Your days blur into routine. Virginity examinations for the thousands of girls screened every year for concubine selection. You examine breasts, armpits for body odor, private parts, hemorrhoids, and hymens. Senior palace maids watch. You're never trusted alone. Make one mistake of declaring a non-virgin as a virgin, and it's your head. You learn to work in silence, hands steady, face blank. The girls cry as you poke. You don't speak. And then there's your main job, attending to deliveries. You help the birthing mothers to stay in a vertical position. You support them with your arms. You're the stabilizing woman. You even help deliver babies of the royal lineage. During deliveries, you don't use anesthesia or even antiseptic. Just hot water and prayer. Prayer that the baby doesn't die in your arms. Because in the Forbidden City, nobody thanks the midwife for a safe delivery. You only get the blame for a dead baby. Another thing you've come to understand is that infant mortality is brutal. 4 in 10 boys die in the first year. For girls, it's more like 5 in 10. You learn this from experience. You're 30 now. Years of deliveries have robbed you of 15 years. In that time frame, you deliver 30 babies. 14 died within weeks. Each time, you're interrogated. You're asked questions like, what did you do wrong? Every time you answer, nothing. The baby was weak. Sometimes they believe you. Sometimes they don't. But you survive because you're good. And lucky. You also select wet nurses for the surviving babies. You examine lactating women, age 16 to 20, 3 months postpartum. You check for diseases. The court knows breast milk can transmit illness. You check their skin, teeth, and family background. You select the healthiest. Then comes the cruelest part. You tell them the rule. They cannot bring their own children into the palace, and they're forbidden to leave. They must redirect all maternal care to the royal child. You watch these women weep. One begs you, please, my baby is only 4 months old. You say nothing. You select her anyway. Finally, you do forensic examinations. Female corpses are brought to you. Palace maids who fell from balconies. Concubines who choked on food. You examine them. You document. You know some were murders. Bruises in the wrong places. Strangle marks disguised as rope burns from accidents. But still, you write, natural causes. Your job isn't truth. It's discretion. You've seen more death than most soldiers. You sleep 4 hours a night. Your hands shake when you're alone. You've learned that while knowledge makes you dangerous, it's competence that keeps you alive. So you keep being good at your job. You're 35 when the Tianqi Emperor ascends the throne. He's 15 years old. He was one of the babies you helped deliver. His father was only emperor for a month after his grandfather. One evening, passing through a corridor, you overhear a palace eunuch talking to another. You hear them calling the emperor a boy that still smells of milk, that he has elevated his wet nurse, a woman named Madame Qi, over the court officials, and that he listens to her more than his own ministers. You also hear that Madame Qi and Wei Zongxiang, the head eunuch, have formed an alliance. People call it the Qi Wei regime, and together, they control the court. But you do the right thing by walking and pretending you heard nothing. 2 years after the emperor's coronation, you're assigned to attend the empress's pregnancy. She's 8 months along. You're assigned night shifts. You monitor her condition. Everything seems normal, so you prepare for the delivery. One day, the empress complains of back pain. You're preparing a compress when a woman arrives. She introduces herself as Madame Qi. She looks familiar, but in the Forbidden City, that is not strange. She tells you that she brings a monsieur and asks you to leave the room. She says they'll care for the empress. You hesitate. She screams at you. You leave. You wait outside the door. For some reason, you still think about that face. But words like pressure, manipulation, and the empress's screams bring you back to reality. You try to go back in, but Madame Qi is at the door. She tells you to go back if you do not want to die. You don't want to die, so you go back. 2 hours later, you're called back in. The empress is bleeding. The baby is dead. Madame Qi looks at you. Natural miscarriage. Document it. You clean up the blood. You write the report. The next day, palace officials question you. They ask what happened. You tell them it was a miscarriage, that the empress was in distress. They ask if anybody entered the room. You tell them that Madame Qi did, but only to comfort the empress. They watch your face. You don't flinch. You survive. Barely. That night, while lying on your bed, your mind drifts back to Madame Qi's face. And then it hits you. You finally know where you met her. She was one of the girls you picked as a wet nurse in the past. She was the one who begged you, saying she had a 4-month-old son. You tremble. You fear that she remembers you and might want to take revenge. But sleep robs you of that worry. Over the next 2 years, this pattern continues. There are 3 more imperial pregnancies that end in miscarriage, and you were present for 2 of them. Each time, Madame Qi or Wei Zongxiang is nearby. Each time, you document it as natural causes. During that same time, you're ordered to examine one of the consorts. She's been imprisoned by Madame Qi in her own palace. When you arrive, she's been stripped of her maids. Food has been restricted. You find her on the floor, skin hanging loose, eyes sunken. She grabs your wrist, begging for water. You look at the guard behind you. He shakes his head. Just examine her, he says. You do. You write the report. You leave. 2 weeks later, she's dead. You examine her body. Starvation. You write illness. That night, you cry. You've become a murder accomplice. From that day, whenever you sleep, you dream of the empress's screams, of the consort's pleas, and of babies chasing you. At that moment, you realize the truth. You're not a midwife anymore. You're a witness, and witnesses don't survive. For the next few years, you're involved in multiple palace schemes. You wonder if this is Madame Qi's revenge on you. You also wonder when she plans on getting rid of you. In September 1627, something big happens. The Tianqi Emperor dies. His brother takes the throne, becoming the Chongzhen Emperor. At first, he's amicable toward the Qi Wei faction. You think, maybe it's over. Then the winds shift. Accusations fly against the Qi Wei faction. Immediately, Wei Zongxiang is exiled. You also hear that Madame Key was arrested and moved to the Laundry Bureau, a place where old and disabled palace workers go to die. Days later, you hear she is dead. She was beaten to death during the interrogation. It was said that she confessed to attempting to usurp the throne under torture. For one moment, you feel relief. Then, when all palace staff who served during the Tianqi reign are under suspicion, you feel terror. What if they ask what you saw? What if they don't believe you this time? And what if they find out you're the one who picked her as a wet nurse? That week, interrogations begin. They're conducted in basement chambers. They ask everyone the same questions. Finally, it's your turn. You're questioned about Empress Zong's miscarriage years ago. You repeat your story. You're asked if Madame Key ordered anything unusual. You say the exact same words you said all those years ago. They don't believe you, but they can't prove otherwise, so you're punished. You're demoted and reassigned from imperial births to examining female prisoners. Your new reality is checking up on female prisoners and women condemned to death. According to law, if a condemned woman is found pregnant, her execution is postponed until 100 days after the birth. Your job is to verify the pregnancy, attend to the birth, and hand the baby to the authorities. The mothers know what's coming, so you get to work. You deliver babies in prison cells, stone floors, no clean water, rats in the corners. The mothers beg you to help them escape. You can't. You deliver the baby, cut the cord, hand the child to the guard. The mothers watch their baby taken away. You write your reports. Healthy birth, approved for execution 100 days later. Years have passed since you started your prison shift. You're 45 now. Your spine is curved, and you suffer chronic back pain from a fractured vertebrae that never healed right. You walk with a limp. You've delivered 12 babies for condemned women. That's 12 mothers executed. And more participants for your recurring nightmares. Outside the Forbidden City, the Empire is unsettled. The dynasty is collapsing. Manchus are invading. Rebellions are spreading across the Empire. Rebellion leader Li Ziqing is even approaching Beijing. Inside the Forbidden City, the palace is in chaos. The Emperor is executing officials left and right. Paranoia. In the palace harem, Consort Liu, the Emperor's favorite concubine, is pregnant. Emperor Chongzhen is desperate for a healthy heir. The last one died at birth. One of the newer midwives oversaw a delivery and messed up. She's executed. You're experienced, so you're assigned to the delivery. You haven't attended an imperial birth in 7 years, but it's what you have spent most of your life doing. Contractions begin. Labor lasts 18 hours. The baby is upside down, feet first. You've done this before. You manually turn the baby. It takes time, but you succeed. It's a boy. The baby is born alive, but his cries are weak, and he has difficulty breathing. You do everything you can. You clear the airway. You stimulate the chest. Unfortunately, the baby dies 6 hours later. You try to comfort the mother, but she screams that you killed her baby. Immediately, palace officials arrive. You're dragged to the interrogation chamber. You're asked what went wrong. You explain what happened and how you followed every protocol. You're asked if you harmed the child intentionally. You say no. They don't care. The Emperor needs someone to blame, and you're the perfect someone. You're sentenced to torture while the investigation is still ongoing. You kneel on gravel for 3 days. No food, minimal water. When you faint from dehydration, they drag you into the shade. Not to save you, they just don't want you dying mid-investigation. After 3 days, they decide there is not enough evidence for execution, but they judge you guilty of incompetence. The punishment: 100 lashes of a bamboo rod in the public courtyard. On the day of your punishment, your hands are tied behind your back. The count begins. Lash after lash. Your weak body can't endure it. At 50, you lose consciousness. They continue. You wake up days later in the medical ward. Your back is shredded. Your spine is damaged. You can no longer walk without assistance. A week later, palace officials return. New evidence, they say. A maid has testified that you spoke critical of Consort Liu during the delivery. You didn't. But it doesn't matter. The Empress wants you dead. The Emperor blames you for his lack of an heir. You're sentenced to execution. You cannot believe it. You are taken to the execution ground at dawn the next day. No trial. No appeal. You kneel with your hands tied. As the executioner raises the blade, you think of your life. You've welcomed dozens of lives to the world. The Emperor is even one of them. But now, one of those lives has declared your death. You delivered the Empire's future. You verified its bloodlines. You examined its corpses. You kept its secrets. And this is your reward. Your service to the Empire means nothing as the blade falls and your head rolls. Your head is mounted on a spike at the execution ground, a warning to others. Your body is left where it fell until evening. Nobody comes to claim you. No one dares. At dusk, they drag your headless corpse to a shallow pit outside the city walls. You're thrown in with other executed criminals, thieves, rebels, and traitors. No coffin, no shroud, just dirt. No funeral rites, no incense, no prayers. This is the ultimate punishment. No ancestral tablet, no veneration, no peace. Your spirit is condemned to wander as a hungry ghost as your name is struck from all records. You spent your life welcoming new life into the world. And now that you're dead, there's no one to send you to the afterlife.